We are going to call ourselves to order and stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, roll call, please.
Chairwoman Chris Smith Rodriguez,
Here.
Vice Chairman Taylor,
Here.
Member Beckles, Member Van Deven,
Here.
Member Wheelis.
Here.
All right, thank you. I hope our board got a chance to take a look at the minutes. And I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 And none opposed. All right, which moves on to our notice. All right, hello, everyone. I'm going to read this notice to you. So all persons who anticipate speaking on any public hearing item must fill out an oath card to be heard on that agenda item and sign the oath contained thereon. These cards are located at the table near the entrance of the council chamber, or you may get a card from our recording secretary. This meeting will be conducted in accordance to the procedures adopted in Resolution 24-1997. Those speaking in favor of a request will be heard first, those opposed will be heard second, and those who wish to make a public comment on the item will speak third. The applicant may make a brief rebuttal if necessary. A representative from either side, for or against, may cross-examine a witness. Anyone who speaks is considered a witness. If you have photographs, sketches, or documents that you desire for the commission or board to hear or consider, they must be submitted into evidence and will be retained by the city. You can submit those exhibits to our recording secretary. So if you haven't already signed an oath card, please feel free to get up and pick one up now. All right. To our staff, have all the agenda items been properly advertised?
Yes, they have.
Thank you. And to our board members, have any of you visited the sites that we're going to address today or spoken to any members of the public on it?
I have a disclosure.
Proceed.
In my professional relationship as a real estate agent, I do have a piece of property to the rear of the first agenda item that will be touching the project. I have spoken to council. I have no interest in that project, and we do not see there is a conflict. I have not spoken to even the owner of the property or any of the neighbors, so I have not received any other feedback other than let the applicant know that I have a property listed behind this particular property.
Okay, thank you for the disclosure. And I also have nothing to disclose with the rest of the board. All right, we do not have a consent agenda nor any old business, so we'll move right to new business regarding variance 11-2023 at 2416 Fox Hollow Drive, and I turn it over to staff.
So variance number 11-2023 at 2416 Fox Hollow Drive. The variance request is for land development regulations, section 28-307, multifamily, high density residential, to allow less than the minimum required lot width of 20 feet for property located in the multifamily high density residential R3 zoning district at 2416 Fox Hollow Drive, Titusville, Florida, as submitted by Robert Donovan and as authorized by representatives of RJJ AC Homes LLC, the owner. The location is 2416 Fox Hollow Drive, Titusville, Florida, tax number 2202948. The future land use of the property is residential 2. The zoning is multifamily, high-density residential R3. And the surrounding zoning districts to the north, south, and east are all multifamily, high-density residential. And to the west, single-family, medium-density R1B. The lot characteristics, the subject property is a 0.28 acre property with frontage along Fox Hollow Drive. The lot can generally be described as a rectangular with a tapered extension for access to Fox Hollow Drive. However, it is not considered a flag lot. The lot is on a corner with quadplexes to the north and east, and the Fox Lake Manor subdivision to the west. South of the lot is a vacant residential lot. The usage currently is vacant residential land. So the powers of the BAA Section 34-226 states that the board shall grant a variance request when, in the opinion of the Board of Adjustments and Appeals, owing to special conditions, the literal enforcement of such ordinance or regulations would do manifest injustice to or impose an unnecessary hardship upon the applicant. In order to authorize any variance to the provisions of such ordinance, the board must consider the following criteria. Special conditions and circumstances exist which are peculiar to the land, structure, or building involved and which are not applicable to other lands, structures, or building in the same zoning. Special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant. Granting the variance requested will not confer upon the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance to other lands, buildings, or structures in the same zoning district. The literal interpretation of the provisions of the ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district under the terms of the ordinance. The variance granted is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land, building, or structure. The granting of the variance will preserve the spirit of the ordinance and remain in harmony with its general purpose and intent. In granting the variance, the public safety and welfare must be assured. In no case shall the granting of a variance result in a change of use which would not be permitted in that zone. The staff analysis. The applicant is requesting a variance to allow less than the minimum required property width of 20 feet for 6 townhomes within the Fox Hollow subdivision. Section 28-307 of the code requires the lot width for townhomes to be 20 feet. The applicant is requesting to reduce lot width minimum to 15 feet to align with the existing plat on the subject property. The applicant explained that due to the unique corner lot property being platted in 1983, the property has minimal frontage and various setbacks and drainage easements. The final layout was a product of several iterations and reviews with the city staff and was considered the best solution at the time for the non-conforming lot width. The existing plat created 8 lots for townhouses. 6 of the 8 lots are 15 feet wide. The applicant wishes to develop 6 townhouses on the 6 lots that are 15 feet wide. The remaining 2 lots will remain vacant. The proposal is to develop 6 townhouses on the 6 15-foot wide platted lots that were established on the subject property with the approval of the Fox Hollow plat. While the plat established 15-foot wide lots, the current zoning on the property requires a minimum lot width of 20 feet. The request, therefore, is to reduce the minimum lot width in the R3 zoning district from 20 feet to 15 feet in order to bring the platted lots into conformance with the minimum lot width requirements. In addition, the property has 15-foot wide drainage and utility easements on the south side. Recommendation. The staff does not object to the variance to allow less than the required minimum lot width of 20 feet to the requested 15 feet. The platted townhome lot configuration is peculiar to this zoning district, which creates a special condition and circumstance which are peculiar to the land and which are not applicable to other lands. Special conditions and circumstances do not result from the actions of the applicant. The applicant did not create an issue with the lot. The R3 zoning district currently allows a maximum of 6 units in a row consistent with the proposal. A 15-foot drainage easement along the south property boundary and a 20-foot wide drainage easement along the west property boundary, as well as a tapered front, constrain the site. The development will adhere to the site development requirements. Granting the variance requested will not confer upon the applicant any special privilege that is denied by the ordinance to other lands in the same zoning district. The variance granted is the minimum variance that will make possible the reasonable use of the land. The granting of the variance will preserve the spirit of the ordinance and remain in harmony with its general purpose and intent. The proposed multifamily development is generally consistent with the surrounding development patterns.
Thank you. Any questions of staff?
This variance doesn't apply to parking. There will still be the requirement for 2 parking spaces for each unit. Is that correct?
That is correct. Does not apply to that.
Any other questions to staff? Seeing none. Ms. Kim?
Robert Donovan.
Robert Donovan, if you would like to speak, come up to the podium, please. And please state your name and address.
Robert Donovan.
Oh, is the light on? Press that button, will you? There you go.
There we go. Robert Donovan, 1985 North Tropical Trail, Merritt Island, Florida, 32953. I'm just here tonight to answer any questions anyone might have in regards to this project or answer anything into it for the board.
Okay. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Donovan?
Seeing how these are now single-story instead of multi-stories as the other units, will these have rear doors?
These are actually going to be two-story.
I know they're two-story, but
Yeah.
will each unit have its own outside access on the rear?
Yes, it will. They'll have a front door and a back door.
Okay. I know that from the fourplexes upstairs, they had no exit out the back.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, these will have front and back doors.
Okay, they will. Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Donovan? No? All right, sir. Thank you. You can have a seat.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Kim?
Just leave it on.
Yeah, you can leave it on.
Stavros.
Hello, welcome. Your name and address, please.
Hello, my name is Stavros Hagistavridis. I'm with Consulting Civil Engineers. I'll be representing Robert Donovan. We just wanted to state that we agree with your city staff in granting the variance approval. I'm just here to answer any engineering questions you may have about the project.
Any questions now from the board?
Well, considering that drainage for the rear and to the south, will that stay open, or are you planning on piping it and closing it off?
No, actually, that area is part of the drainage easement. It's part of the Fox Hollow community. So
Okay.
we have no intentions of piping that.
Okay, so it'll stay,
Yeah, it's
it
will
will stay a drainage area, which is a natural buffer to the area.
Yes, correct.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Ms. Kim?
Abby Offerman.
Alderman?
Offerman, O-F-F-E-R.
Probably the wrong project, or the next Fox Hollow project.
Okay, because she's got 2 and 3 on here, so. Okay.
Okay, so no other cards for item one?
No,
Anybody
ma'am.
here intending to speak on item one? No?
No.
Okay. All right.
Was that one?
Yes.
Yes, I,
Did-
right next door.
Okay, did you fill out a card, sir? What's your name?
Which,
Jose Pio.
Did you fill out one of those cards over there, sir?
Yes, I did. I filled out
Jose?
the little,
Okay.
half sheets.
Okay, we'll get you squared away. Come on up
Okay.
to the podium.
what's his name?
All right, good afternoon, sir. Please state your name and address.
Jose Pio, 3266 Pheasant Trail, MIMS, 32754.
All right, thank you. And are you speaking for or against this variance request?
Actually, I'm here to find out a little more about it because I own the quadplex next door to it. And we have bad drainage as it is. And I just wanted to make sure that, you know, if I didn't show up, that they would do something and then they'd be grandfathered in and, you know,
Okay.
I don't know that much about it, but that's why I'm here.
Okay, so it sounds like you've heard staff's report, which is what we're going off of right now. So if you don't have any statement to make for or against and you're in the process of just learning, you're welcome to return to your seat
Sure.
and hear the remainder of the hearing.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think that would be all of our cards then.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll bring it back to the board. Do we have any discussion amongst ourselves or any additional questions of staff?
Well, in looking at this one as opposed to the other little fourplexes in there, the way this particular lot is oriented, I believe it is a good orientation to have 6 units like that instead of trying to build 2 fourplexes in there. And I think this will fit characteristics for the neighborhood.
Okay, any other discussion? And if not, I'll take a motion.
Mr. Taylor, in your previous comment, you referenced the drainage easement. Did you have a particular concern that didn't see right off?
I was just concerned it was going to stay there. I knew it was there, and I was just concerned it was going to stay as part of an easement and not be, that's why I was asking if it was going to be piped or left open or whatever, but I could see a problem if it was like being enclosed or making more space for the units or parking on the south side, whatever, but no, that was my concern about it staying a draining easement, and that's what staff says it would be.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Then I will make a motion to approve variance number 11-2023 at 2416 Fox Hollow Drive as presented tonight.
Okay, I have a motion.
I second it.
I have a second. Any further discussion amongst the board? No? All right, roll call.
Chairwoman Smith Rodriguez,
Yes?
Vice Chairman Taylor,
Yes.
Member Beckles,
Yes.
Member Van Deven. Yes. Member Wheelis.
Yes,
The variance is approved. So you all are welcome to stick around for the remainder of the hearings. You're also welcome to leave. All right, I'll bring our board's attention down to on our PDF, page 45,
Okay, that's what it is,
for our next variance, which is variance number 12-2023 at 2301 Fox Hollow Drive. Staff?
Variance number 12-2023 at 2301 Fox Hollow Drive. The variance request is for Land Development Regulations, Chapter 30, Subdivision 7, Parking Area Landscaping, Section 30-382. Design to waive the requirement of a terminal island that is otherwise required for each row of interior parking spaces to terminate the row of parking for property located in the multifamily high-density residential R3 zoning district at 2301 Fox Hollow Drive, as submitted by Abby Offerman and as authorized by representatives of Wholesale Premium Properties LLC owner. There you go. The location is 2301 Fox Hollow Drive, Titusville, Florida, tax number 2202978. The future land use is residential 2. The zoning is multifamily high-density residential R3. Surrounding zoning districts to the north, south, east, and west are multifamily high-density residential. The lot characteristics. The subject property is approximately 0.25 acre vacant multifamily lot. The property has frontage along Fox Hollow Drive and is surrounded by vacant multifamily lots. The lot is conforming rectangular lot that it would meet the minimum lot area for a quadplex. There is currently an approved variance from 2022. The current use is a vacant residential land. So the staff's analysis, the applicant is requesting a variance to waive the requirement of a terminal island that shall be required for each row of interior parking spaces to terminate the row of parking. Section 30-382 of the code states terminal islands shall be required for each row of interior parking spaces to terminate the row of parking. Approval of the variance would remove the requirement for a terminal island. The applicant explained that due to the property being platted in 1983, without the approval of the variance would cause the property to not match the surrounding property's aesthetics, square footage, and number of units. The applicant wishes to develop a quadplex that is aesthetically similar to the surrounding multifamily dwellings. The proposed site plan shows the quadplex meeting all setback requirements for R3 zoning district. In 2022, this property received approval of a variance for reduced the landscape buffer from 20 feet to 10 feet. The property is in the R3 zoning district, which is intended for a density of 15 dwelling units per acre. A required 15-foot terminal island would cause a decrease in available parking dimensions and building footprint. The site plan already shows low-impact development techniques used that reduce the parking dimensions from 10 feet by 20 feet to 9 feet by 18 feet. With an already approved variance reducing the landscape buffer and the use of LID techniques, it appears the property is unable to provide sufficient space for all that is required by the city codes. The property meets the lot area minimum and building coverage maximum for the R3 zoning district standards. Staff recommends approval of the request to allow the variance to waive the requirement of a terminal island to terminate the row of parking, provided the minimum plantings requirements are met. In granting the variance, the literal interpretation of the provisions of the ordinance would deprive the applicant of rights commonly enjoyed by other properties in the same zoning district under the terms of the ordinance. The dwelling developed with the required terminal island should cause for a lesser building footprint and parking dimensions than the surrounding properties in the area. In addition, the variance will preserve the spirit of the ordinance and remain in harmony with its general purpose and intent.
Thank you. Any questions to staff?
Yeah, I have one. What is a terminal island? I'm sorry, I don't know that term.
So the terminal islands are the islands at the end of rows of parking that pretty much terminate that row of parking. So it's the ending of that parking row. I can explain it.
But,
The
yeah, you can explain.
Yeah, at the end of a row of parking, you'll find a curved area typically with landscaping in it, and a certain amount of landscaping is required in the island typically. I don't know in this specific case, but perhaps when we get to the presenters they can explain further.
So at
But
Publix.
that's what it is. Think about the islands that you run over inevitably if you park next to them when you're trying to back out of your space.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions to staff? Seeing none, Ms. Kim?
Abby Offerman?
Ms. Offerman? Please state your name and address, please.
Abby Offerman, 2487 Aloma Avenue, Suite 100, Winter Park, Florida. I'm here with Rescom Contractors. I'm in agreement with the staff recommendation, and I'm here to address any questions.
Okay, any questions from our board for Ms. Offerman?
I guess that's my question about that terminal islands. With what, if you were to try to put one in, how much space would that take away or require?
The minimum required width is 15 feet.
For a terminal island? Oh, okay. Okay. Inquiring minds want to know.
I have one other question. I'm ignorant on that, but is that also used for walking, for a path, like if you're coming out of your car and you go to the end because that's a safe area to walk on the terminal island to get to where you need to go?
There's not typically sidewalks provided on those islands, so they're not.
But the island leads
Usually.
to a sidewalk? No?
Not necessarily, not
All
typically.
right. Okay, all right, thank you.
And I have a question relative to the landscaping. Is, by not having these islands, is it going to affect the planting, the number of plantings that are required here? And if so, how is that going to be addressed? Because I noticed as part of the recommendation, staff said that, where is it? That they didn't want it to affect the, here we go, provided the minimum plantings requirements are met.
So we are not proposing to reduce any of the plantings. We're just going to move them to either sides of the parking area in lieu of placing them in landscape in the terminal islands.
Okay.
And don't go anywhere yet. Don't run away. Do the surrounding properties near this property, do they have terminal islands?
No, they do not.
Any other questions, Ms. Offerman? Now you're free to sit down. Ms. Kim?
Paul Abate?
Mr. Abate, name and address, please.
Paul Abadi, 8721 Pine Barrens Drive, Orlando, Florida. I'm with Rescom Contractors. We represent the applicant. Terminal Islands, yes. This is something that just came up recently in one of our reviews, and we were shocked by it as well because these this is a feature you normally see in, as you mentioned, a Publix parking lot or a bigger parking area. The definition is it's an island that breaks up long rows of space within a parking lot. It's for heat requirements and several others, just breaking up space, adding some landscape features to the parking lot, so it's just not one big open parking lot. Long rows of space, we don't feel that we have a long row of space, as we have 4 parking spaces on either side. So when you look at our parking lots, there's just 4 parking spaces on each side. The space of being able to add the island, we agree with staff that it's probably not feasible for this project and the other projects that we have within this community. So we actually have 5 other projects that are in this community that we're looking to submit for permits. We're just trying to get through the first few hurdles so we could go through the other projects. So we do have 2311, which is the same concern and same application. So I don't know if these could be merged together, but we're going to go through the same project right after this, which is the lot 2 doors down.
So in lieu of the terminal islands, you're going to be putting more parking spaces?
No.
Okay.
We'll have the same amount of parking spaces. It's just the building and the parking lot would not fit a terminal island on either side. So when staff recommended additional landscaping, as Ms. Offerman had made the suggestion that we are planting the same amount of plants that would be required, there's just going on other locations of the property.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Kim?
That was all, unless Mr. Pryor wanted to speak again. Did you want to speak again? You had it on for this one as well.
Okay. All right, bring it back to the board. Any other discussion amongst ourselves or questions to staff? And if not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that, that we approve variance number 11-20, 12-2023, which is 2301 Fox Hollow Drive, as presented here in this case.
Okay, I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
I have a second. Any further discussion amongst ourselves? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Member Beckles?
Yes.
Member Van Deven?
Yes.
Member Wheelis?
Yes.
Chairwoman Smith Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Taylor?
Yes.
All right, variance is granted for 2301 Fox Hollow Drive. Draw our attention now to page 66 of our PDF, which is variance 13-2023-2311 Fox Hollow Drive. And staff, I understand that it is the same analysis and request. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Council, do we have to formally go through the same process, or can we?
You can recognize that you've heard it all already on the record.
Okay. In that case, I will recognize that for variance 13-2023, the same request analysis and requested variance as 12-2023 at 2301 Fox Hollow Drive has been heard, and the variance has been approved to eliminate the terminal islands for the parking. Is there anything additional, staff, that we need to know for consideration of the 13-2023 variance?
No, there is not. It's the same exact application.
Okay. And I'm sure the same cards are filed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
just for clarification, the characteristics of the lot and the proposed building sizes and parking lot layouts are the same for both projects?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Mr. Abate or Ms. Offerman, were either of you intending to speak on this topic? Having heard the disclaimer? No. Okay, no speaking. All right. Does the board have any further discussion as it relates to this specific variance? No? Then I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chairwoman, I'd excuse me. I move to approve variance 13-2023 or 2311 Fox Hollow Drive variance to LDR Section 3382 to eliminate the requirement for the terminal island parking lot.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second. Any further discussion amongst the board? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Member Wheelis?
Yes,
Chairwoman Smith Rodriguez?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Taylor?
Yes.
Member Beckles?
Yes.
Member Van Deven?
Yes.
All right, the variance has passed. So thank you all. I believe that's our only new business today, so you're welcome to stick around. You're also welcome to head out. All right. Next item would be any petitions and requests from any public present. And as all public seems to be exiting. Have a good night. Ms. Kim, any other cards or anything up there?
No, ma'am.
All right. Any reports from staff or council?
We do have one variance in for next month.
Okay, for next month. Thank you.
City Hall will be closed on Tuesday to observe the 4th of July, and our annual celebration will be held at the Chain of Lakes Park. You're all invited to attend.
Thank you. Any reports from our board members? No?
I'll be unable to attend next, the meeting at the July meeting.
All right, Dr. Beckles is unable to attend the July meeting. Kim, you catch that? All right, anything else from anybody else?
We still have a vacancy, I understand. Is that still correct, Counselor?
All right, and we still have a vacancy for an alternate member to our Board of Adjustments and Appeals. So if you are interested in serving your city, we would love to entertain your application, and you can pick one up from City Hall. All right, then that's it. Meeting adjourned.